recording to this computer, and hold on to your butts because we get to do fancy things like normally on LR mornings. Yeah, I've got a whole folder for that for us. So Nick, get ready to introduce our show. Today's episode is brought to you by Grow Generation, where the pros go to grow. More on them later in the episode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Marvel Multiverse Mondays. Very special. We've had to do a few adjustments thanks to the madness of Loki. So now we're doing Marvel Multiverse Mondays presents Loki Thorsdays, which we'll be watching our Loki on Wednesdays and doing the podcast on, well, the podcast will be ready for you on Thursday.
Yes.
You know, recording, editing, look behind the curtain.
Kyle does a live show on Thursday mornings, which means that if I don't pre-upload, you might be waiting a couple hours. And speaking of that, make sure you subscribe on YouTube so you can check out the brand new. Well, it's LR mornings underneath a different name with more focus on our segments and BSing versus just news. So yeah, check out the Daily Cup of Genre starting today earlier. You missed it. Why'd you miss it? Because I didn't upload this on time.
I can go click through it. It's not like an airing on old school television like WandaVision where it's like, damn, I won't see that episode of I Love Lucy for 50 years.
Yeah.
All right, so of course Loki has not started yet.
Not yet.
It starts Wednesday, the 9th of June. So in
like
these 3
2
weeks
days after, or what? 2 days prior to when we were supposed to get Black Widow last, or something like that. But we should have already had her a while ago. Anyway, so
I think bitter. All the first.
It was it was like May,
Black Widow
then June,
release dates were
then
May.
July.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. But at least we'll get to see that soon, hopefully. So Loki is not out yet, so we're going to watch the 3 Thor films from focusing obviously on the Loki point of view, and we'll have a little segment called the Crimes of Loki in each movie. If there are, I don't know. Yeah, he always does something shady in all of them. We're not going to do the Avengers films, even though we know he's super important in the first, but we'll talk in our last episode in case you need to be caught up on Loki's adventures in Infinity War and Endgame, which lead directly into his series. First, Kyle, did you see the most recent TV spot for it where they finally explained the animated clock?
Nope, I have not watched that yet.
It was, I think it's out in HD now. Yesterday we posted on the site on Tuesday.
Should we watch it with our audience?
Yeah, there might be a high quality version out there somewhere, but I don't know.
Yeah, I can try. In the meantime, keep talking while I shift through settings.
I'll talk. So, obviously there's been a lot of Loki spots, but if Kyle can find this one, it's interesting. Someone pointed this out. I guess it must be true. It's the first time, you see all the Marvel heroes, the male heroes shirtless in all the movies, but you don't see the villains shirtless that often unless they're Killmonger and they're adverse to shirts. So like we haven't seen Zemo shirtless. It's a shame. But Loki's shirtless in part of this, which people have pointed out. They're like, finally, Loki gets like the hero shirtless segment.
So, what's all in it? Like 2020, like we're not supposed to objectify and body shame people. What happens if somebody doesn't want to be shirtless, Nick? How do you think they feel having to look at somebody all ripped and muscular without their shirts on? Have you considered their feelings yet, Nick?
I'm gonna be honest. I went to Mission Impossible this past weekend. He's never shirtless, Tom. Maybe he is for a moment. I don't remember. Maybe he changed his shirt. But just looking at his arms when he's doing like the stunt of having to just keep himself level inches from above the ground, I'm like, I need to start working out. It was like the opposite of shame. It was like, I need to start working out.
Okay, it is literally. Some people are calling it the Loki shirtless shot. I'm looking for. Is it Miss Minutes? Yes. 7 hours ago. Okay, I'm looking for the one from like Disney or Marvel Entertainment. So I'm clicking on Marvel's YouTube now. So that way we have everything from official sources and all that great stuff, and I don't get yelled at for showing this to you guys. I think I might already have to like cut and then like shrink it so it might look funny. But we'll see. Let's watch this
cool.
Let's watch this together because I have not watched this yet. Here we go.
Welcome to the Time Variance Authority.
Okay, wait. Why is it coming out of the... I couldn't hear what it was coming out of. What?
I hear it coming out of my headphones.
Okay, hold on. I got it. There we go.
Okay.
Rewind. There we go.
Welcome to the Time Variance Authority. I'm Miss Minutes, and it's my job to catch you up before you stand trial for your crimes. So settle in.
Now hang on just a minute.
And we'll get you in front of a judge in no time.
You actually believe this crap, sir? I mean, seriously.
No. Thanks
Nice.
for visiting the TVA. Don't hesitate to let us know how we're doing.
What do you want from me? You put our timeline in chaos. I want you to help us fix it. What could possibly go wrong?
Trusting Loki is not a good idea.
Do I get a weapon? Gear up. Don't those feel good?
Absolutely not.
Original series streaming Wednesday,
Okay.
June 9th only.
I'm down with it.
That's a good ad.
I'm excited.
And it explains Miss Minutes. When I look at
Yeah.
the poster, I'm like, what? Are we gonna get part animation in this show? But no, she's like Mr. DNA.
Yeah.
So based on that trailer, though, let's already start speculating before we talk about Thor. Do we think this is what leads into Doctor Strange? Since WandaVision didn't, you don't think it will either? You think they will repair the timeline, or someone else will break it worse? Or
I think time and space and universes are all connected, but yet separate parts of existence. So I don't think that this necessarily will be as much of a multiverse thing as it is a one universe with multiple timelines thing.
the split that the Sorcerer Supreme was talking about.
More like Back to the Future 2 than anything exactly. But instead of just having the one tangent and everything being okay, in this case the tangents can break down that main timeline. Where in Back to the Future it was just, oh fuck, Biff's in charge. Fuck this noise. We gotta get back to our regular point. In some cases, if it would be fine, you'd be like, okay, like when Rick uses, his dimensional travel, which, you could use this in times speak to find a place where him and Morty didn't Cronenberg the Earth.
Yeah.
Like that, you could just be like, okay, this is close enough. I'm willing to stay here, but I don't know. I really don't think so. There's a real focus on time here. They haven't said dimension. They haven't said universe, multiverse. It's timeline.
Oh, Loki breaking the. It looks excellent. Obviously, I think Owen Wilson will be an interesting.
Yes,
foil.
I'm happy.
Well, before we get there, we have to discuss how we got there, and that's Kyle and I both watched Thor.
Yes,
I watched it yesterday. When did you watch it, Kyle?
Finished about 45 minutes ago.
Nice. So we're both fresh on our Thor. I haven't seen it for years.
It's been a couple for me. I actually wrote down a few things. So
nice, because it's probably one of the ones I've seen the least in the entire MCU.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's newer, I've obviously seen Thor Ragnarok more times than I've seen Thor and Thor: The Dark World combined. But so I wanted to ask first, what were your thoughts when you originally saw it, if you remember? Would have been 2011, I believe.
I liked it. I saw it. I think I saw it while I was on R&R from Iraq because it was summer of 11, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think it was early summer, and
like
then
May-ish,
Captain
June?
America was July.
yeah. So this was like April, May then, and I was
Mhm.
on R&R, and I saw it in 3D because that was the only way we could fit it into our schedule. And R&R is for those of us that do real deployments in combat zones of 12 months or more, not some pansy ass Air Force 4 to 6 months bullshit. You get a two week break sometime starting after month 4. They start rotating units through to get time off, and you get to go anywhere you want. The military will, like, I know a lot of single soldiers when they did deployments would get tickets to like New Zealand or to Japan, or because it's literally you just fill out your form. You're like, this is where I want to go. Hey, you've been shot at, blown up in a shitty environment for the last few months. Yeah, we could fly you there. But
At least we could do.
yeah. How did I get there? What was the original
Thor.
question? Thor. Yes, I was on leave. So I was on leave when we saw it in 3D, and I remember the lightning looked really cool in 3D, but that was it. It was like my first, I think that was my first like modern 3D movie when it first started coming back in with like Avatar, because I actually saw that in 2D
No.
on home video, because why would I pay for that garbage? But yeah, it was good. J. Michael Straczynski's storyline, his reboot was an inspiration point. I'm not sure how JMS feels about the film himself. He's in it, of course. And it does borrow heavily from his run, where he kind of soft reboot the character. Aesthetically, love it. I think Kenneth Branagh does a beautiful job with most of Asgard. An amazing job, him and his costume crew, with the main costumes, Sif and the Warriors, Loki, Odin, Frigga, Thor. Some of you can tell where budgets kind of get cut, and like some of like the eating halls aren't as grand as they are in Dark World or other scenes. But I thought it was a really good movie. But I actually, can I say what I thought this time?
Yeah. Then I'll go.
It grew on me a lot. Like, I watched it this time and I was like, wow, I really do like this movie. And Is it
because of the stuff you've seen later, or just revisiting?
Yeah,
I didn't notice these other cool things regardless
I didn't
of what happens later.
I always knew it was a good. I know where all the laughs are, but they hit it differently now.
Mm-hmm.
They hit differently as I see how immature he is in his comedy and his being as Thor, because even way back in that first movie, you have a little inkling of that all words are made up snarky Thor, and I've always said, well, while people are like, oh, Cap, best arc ever, gets the girl in the end, Tony, like from asshole to selfless asshole, but still an asshole. But we love Tony. He's our asshole. But I think everyone kind of forgot what Thor went through from this. I am entitled to be king, to I don't even want to be Asgardian. And therefore I'm going to go with these guys that I met.
Rabbit.
Yep, met once floating through space. And
That's right, I forgot how he gets with them.
He
ends up on their windshield.
Yeah, hey chick, take the keys to the kingdom. I'm out, bitches, and he's gone. And I love that arc, and I think this movie hits really well. And I also think Loki, even though he's a big part of this, he doesn't really become a big part of it until halfway through the movie. But his youth in the like actual look, how young he is, really plays into how immature his actions are in this movie. And even he's got a massive arc from here to Ragnarok.
And even before I give my own thoughts, I'd say on that point, like, even though he's doing all this bad stuff, he's also more innocent than later on. Like, next time we see him, he looks like he's been corrupted by evil.
Yeah.
You know, like, and he's more, each movie, his hair gets more and more slimy, even though he starts improving over the, you know, each movie, he's kind of less of a bad guy, but he's still a bad guy, like following Avengers. Where he's like, I'll help you a little bit, Thor. It's like, I'll help you all the way, Thor, and Ragnarok. We'll get to eventually. Oh, I feel like I have to sneeze, but I can't. So my thoughts, originally when I saw it.
That microchip trying to come out.
Originally when I saw it, I was really worried when it was announced, like when it was the next movie coming out. Because I know Iron Man was a risk. And I feel like Incredible Hulk didn't make as much, but it was less of a risk because everyone knew who the Hulk was. This was the one where it's like, I've seen a lot of superhero movies, including X-Men and Spider-Man, you know, that are trying to be as down to earth as possible. Like even the Raimi movies, it's like, let's make the Spider-Man that works in the real world. Like he's not fighting aliens. I mean, I guess Venom shows up. By then, Raimi kind of lost his way, and that was forced on him.
Right.
And like Iron Man, it's all science. So Thor has that line where it's like, it's science, you know, or magic. It's all the, we call it what, like, it's all the same thing. But going into it, I was worried. I'm like, how are they going to make a character with a rainbow bridge who's like a Norse god work alongside Tony Stark?
Yeah, they did.
And it plays. It played awesome at theaters. I haven't revisited it in a long time because I didn't remember it that fondly. Played a lot better this time without even knowing his path. Obviously, his path makes a big difference.
Yeah.
But just like, I didn't remember how many jokes there actually were. I didn't remember Thor being that funny.
It's a good movie.
And,
it's very funny. I
and
hate people that are like, oh, it's not that funny. Why did he get so funny in Ragnarok? Dude, it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's fish out of water stuff. It's great. Like, Bring Me More is the one I think of even before I rewatched it. It slams the like.
I just like run home, little princess. Oh no, it's just the look of joy on his face as he's like, that's an insult to royalty. I can now go to war. Yay!
Yeah. I would say the action style is pretty much hasn't changed that much since then. They've learned how to do cooler stuff with the hammer, or at least shots. Like in Ragnarok, where the hammer is flying around and we get the hammer POV. But like Kenneth Branagh and stunt team and stuff established the same way Thor fights through Endgame. Yeah, like the swinging of the hammer, like his powers were. I didn't realize his powers were so clear. I didn't remember them being that clear going into Avengers. Yeah, but yeah, they established the look, and yeah, I mean, obviously the tone's a little different in Ragnarok, but basically the tone, and it actually, yeah. I didn't remember being that good. Because I was also worried about Captain America that year. Because I'm like, how the fuck are they going to make... Well, first of all, these movies have been good internationally. How much is someone going to want to see a movie called Captain America?
Yeah, I did.
China, where they did
the height of both conflicts go... Well, actually, we were starting to pull out of Iraq, so...
Yeah. And second, how do you make the shield look convincing? Because that's just as silly as a rainbow bridge. But
nope.
Marvel's done it. So... I guess let's go into the Crimes of Loki, because we're watching these from kind of the Loki point of view. We're paying more attention to Loki, obviously, as I strongly doubt we'll see any Chris Hemsworth of any sort in even a different timeline. Chris Hemsworth in this, you don't need it.
No.
Like, yeah, I guess it would have benefited WandaVision to have Doctor Strange.
I would expect if we get a surprise cameo, maybe Frigga.
Maybe Frigga.
Or Heimdall.
Heimdall, we might also, like in the DB Cooper scene where he's like...
It's a possibility. One of those two, potentially. But also, Heimdall could be Heimdall from a different timeline, in which case it could be a female or something like that.
That's like there might be a female Loki or
a variant. Loki. Yeah. So, but I do think Rene Russo is a very possible cameo, and one I would welcome, because we didn't. I know we get a little bit of a moment for Loki with his mom to a degree, but not the closure that Thor got. So to see Loki get something from his mom before he even knows that she's, dies, because in Avengers,
this is Loki before the Dark World.
Yeah, this is
Loki.
him
escaping and not learning anything.
Right, exactly. And so I would like to see something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So in this, Loki, obviously that's the twist later in the game, but Loki's behind everything from the beginning in this movie.
Yeah, letting frost giants in.
He lets in the frost giants
coordination.
Through a way that Heimdall is like, how did you do it without me seeing? I feel like an idiot. He's like, there's other ways in besides the Rainbow Bridge, which of course they use in Thor: The Dark World, which we'll watch next. I know there's a line where he's like, I know a secret way out.
Yep.
And yeah, he lets it in from the beginning. He's very, very subtle about it, but he does like tell Thor what he wants to hear about like going to war and stuff, because that is part of Loki's plan, is he wants to be the king of Asgard. Like he even mentions it to the frost giant, where he's like, it was so excellent, like I had you pop in just as Thor was being made king or whatever, that benefited both of us. So you go, and yeah, I mean everyone knows the plot. He goes to fight with Thor on Jotunheim. Is that what it is? Where everyone's fighting, and the Warriors 3 get pretty injured. One of them gets touched by a frost giant. His arm gets like frozen and stuff. And what happens to Loki? His skin just changes color, and Loki's like, "Huh? Well,
becomes a Smurf."
Yeah, and then they get out of there. Thor gets banished. It's actually quite cruel how quickly he gets banished.
Dude, Daddy
just
was
like arrested
pissed
for a little bit, or like take the power of Thor. He's out.
He's like,
is that right? Get out of here.
Not just that. I'm taking from you not just your power and your present. I take from you your name. I take the name of my father and his father from you. You are no longer Odin's son. You are nothing. Get away from me. That is shocking abuse of authority.
I did notice a line this time that fixes everyone's some people have complained that in the end in Ragnarok we see that the power of Thor doesn't need the hammer to bring the lightning down, because that's the power of Thor. And they're like, well, how does Cap bring the lightning down? That's a Thor power, not a hammer power. He says whoever is worthy enough to lift the hammer
shall
be given all the powers that Thor has.
Yes.
So when Cap holds that hammer, he has whatever power Thor has, which means lightning.
And that's what people don't get. And I hate that we have to talk so much about Thor because we're supposed to be talking about Loki. But I have to say this. That's what people don't understand, the significance of Infinity War and Endgame. From the time he loses his powers, he honestly feels, and you see this all the way through Ragnarok, that he's only got the ability so long as he's worthy and he can lift up that hammer. And it's not until Ragnarok where his father tells him, do you really think that's it? That's the source of your power? His dad basically put on a curse that eventually, as Thor became once again became Thor, he had the power within him. He didn't need the hammer anymore, and he shows that in Ragnarok. And then he loses in Infinity War, but blames himself, no longer feels worthy. He knows that Stormbreaker doesn't have the curse or the praise or whatever on it, blessing or whatever, depending on how you want to look at it. And so when he reaches out in that alternate timeline to call Mjolnir to him, and he gets it, that there, it's not just I'm worthy because I lost. That literally let him know that I was still worthy from the get-go. Like I could call lightning now if I wanted to. Like it takes on a whole nother level if you could go back and you watch that scene being stripped of it all to hammer breaking in Ragnarok to that. Yeah, it's great. And Loki doesn't get that, and I think that's why he's so pissy.
Yeah. Well, and like, yeah, obviously, it's interesting. Another interesting thing we see in the first scene is they automatically show us Loki's powers like really quick. You know, that one guy dives after Loki and falls off a cliff because he has a fake Loki made. And he's like, the real Loki. While Thor's on Earth, Loki gets super pissed at his dad finding out the frost giant thing. He yells at him so much he goes into an unplanned Odin sleep. Right, that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
The Odin sleep. And the mom mentions that one of the reasons this one could be deadly or he might never wake up is that he's been putting it off for whatever reason. Probably until he kinged Thor, which also didn't happen.
Right.
So Loki takes advantage of that. The Warriors 3 want to go help Thor, and he's like, or tell Loki they go to Odin to demand you have to do something. Thor just he's a little harsh, man. But they go to Loki, and Loki's like, well, what kind of king would I be if my first act is undo what the last king did? You know, he just used excuses because obviously this is Loki's plan.
That's kind of legit, a little bit.
But then later he takes it farther when he visits Thor on Earth. Using his trickery. He's dressed. No, the first time we see him dressed like a human because he Coulson leaves and he suddenly appears. And then when Coulson comes back, Thor's like goodbye, and Coulson's like I just got back. But Loki then goes to Earth and tells him a bigger lie that Odin is dead already, and that his mom does not wish that he should be allowed back into Asgard. So we got Loki playing both sides, and then of course Loki is going to help the frost giants get back in so they can kill Odin because he can't do it. What would it be if a king killed another king to become king or whatever?
Yeah, it would be garbage. It's a good plan to a degree, but he's got to make sure all the loose ends are tied up, and it's his own pride and arrogance and that ends up being his undoing. If he would have just walked away and never struck Thor at the end, right? Just take the destroyer armor and walk away, then things would have been fine. But no, he couldn't. He had to get one last thing in, and that was the sacrifice. And now he's worthy. Yada yada. Ending thing happens, but. Before we continue on, we definitely have to talk about one really, really cool thing about Loki's outfit. I love how Marvel went all in on the outfit. The horns I was really, really freaked out about. I think the narrow angle was really good. Mm-hmm. And the green, I've always been a big fan of that color. And my favorite, I always say my favorite colors are LED blue and green because there's nothing quite like that blue and green. But other than black, like my soul, I like and that's like for those of you that have never watched the videos, I wear nothing but like black t-shirts, so that's a black soul. Anyways, I really like his human clothes, like you were saying, how they work the green and stuff into it. It always kind of reminded me of when Power Rangers, the Rangers all wear the same colors that they're Rangers.
That way you remember.
That way you can remember. And there was some reason I mentioned green. Oh yeah, our sponsors, Grow Generation. That's right. You see, guys, how I like to drag it. I did it kind of semi-naturally. Anyways, listen to our sponsors.
Grow Generation, where the pros go to grow. Grow Generation is your one-stop shop for hydroponic grow supplies, product systems, and more. Grow Generation serves customers across the nation and carries a wide inventory of renowned cultivation brands. Go to www.growgeneration.com, where the pros go to grow.
Yeah, do what she said, because she's my wife, and also because Grow Generation would love to hear from you guys and how you guys found out about them. So check that out. All right, Nick. Anyways, back to Loki and his awesome green outfit.
I love how he wears it in Avengers too.
Yeah,
Like when
that's
he's walking
awesome.
down the stairs in Germany.
Yes. Dude, that scene, that like Hiddleston, that scene where he's like jabs dude in the eye and he's like looking around. There's a way he does with his eyes and a breath that he takes that is just he is conveying a psychopath enjoying torture. Oh shit, guys! Nuclear launch has been detected. Where is it headed? Colorado. Okay, that's fine. Anyway,
so
I love that scene in Avengers.
Yeah.
Dude. He's like, I can't even do it without being too creepy.
before I go back to just breaking down his crimes, or giving a little synopsis of his plot, we're more than halfway through on that. I want if you can reach back, remember I'm trying to. I didn't leave Thor seeing Tom Hiddleston Loki as a breakout actor. It wasn't until Avengers for me.
No,
You remember?
I did. I saw. I was hooked on him from the get go. I could not wait for Avengers because of him in Thor. Like, it was to me, Avengers it might still be the best comic book movie that there is. Helicarrier, straight from the source material. Most of your original Avengers minus Wasp and Ant-Man,
And with an
versus their original foe Loki. The beautiful shots, things that legitimately look like a moving panel. It's wonderful, and yeah, I was sold on Hiddleston from then on, and it was just like, God, never let him die in this series. And then they did, sort of, and we're still getting more, and I'm so happy.
So like you were saying earlier, it's kind of his fault that Thor comes back. I think that's his biggest fault as a character, is underestimating his brother, because he thinks his brother is dumber and more immature than he thought, and that he didn't think he would learn a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why he kind of like freaks out. He's like, kind of like, Plan B. I'm gonna have Thor killed by Stark Tech as a
Yeah,
I
like that.
He never tells me anything or whatever. I forgot Sitwell's in this movie.
Yep.
I didn't remember. I know he was in the one of the second one shot or the first one shot, and obviously he's like in Winter Soldier and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff. I forgot he was in this movie. I didn't realize he went back this far on the big screen. But going back to Loki, that fails. Heimdall unfreezes himself, because obviously that was one of Loki's steps to get the other frost giants in. Thor shows up. Loki, his actual plan wasn't to have his father killed, but was to save his father, so he'd be a bit like, have to be like, oh, he saved like Odin. He's the true king of, maybe even get his dad to respect him when his dad wakes up from Odin's sleep. Or his adopted father, rather. And so, Thor comes back. This is the first time we actually, because one of my reasons I don't think I noticed Loki as much the first time I saw Thor is he really doesn't get hands-on until the end.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, half of the movie he's not even. You're like the Warriors 3 and Sif and the Warriors 3 are the secondaries, and Loki's this way in the back, and you're almost worried like are the frost giants going to be the big bad, and Loki won't be big bad until next. But they did it real well, man, and it fits his character.
And he does get hands-on in the end, beaten by Thor. They destroy the Rainbow Bridge, all that stuff, and then Loki lets go from Thor trying to save him and lets himself fall into the abyss, where he's later picked up by Thanos somehow, or Thanos' assistant.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing. From you can look at the way he was looking. He tried to do the, oh, fathers, save me, and it was going to pretend again until the next opportune moment. But when Odin was like, no, then that's when that's when Loki was like, okay, I got it, fine, fuck you guys, I can find something
I'm off
else.
to cause mischief.
Yeah.
As he floats away.
Yep.
So that is the first Thor movie from Loki's perspective. Anything
Yeah.
else you really want to say about it? The show will be simpler until we get to the Loki series.
Yeah. Let's see. I thought it's interesting. One of the first things that he hears in the film as a kid is you were both born to be kings. It's like he tells Loki from the get-go, like, you should have been the king of Jotunheim, and maybe one day we could have been, allies because of that, but they were going to leave you to die. That's in Odin's mind, which he does tell Loki later. And then even though he's surprised by who he is, he has to have known he was different for some reason, something, and it makes me wonder about Frigga, and that's why I kind of hope she's in Loki, to see a little bit about his past and his relationship with her, because she's the one that taught him all of his magic. So that's why I really want her in there. And also, we got to cancel Kat Dennings, because she totally wants to sexually assault Chris Hemsworth while unconscious, offering to perform mouth to mouth for non health related reasons. And there's no consent, and it's 2021, so cancel Kat Dennings. And then why destroy Jotunheim? That was my only thing.
That was the other reason he thought everyone would worship him. Like the same reason Thor did at the beginning, where he's like, well, no, because
I don't think it's
like before Thor was told he was going too far.
Right.
Loki's like, now I have they tried to kill the king. And I stopped.
Yeah.
If I was, it's not like they tried to steal something. It's like they tried to kill the king. We actually have to go to war.
Yeah, but he goes from going to war to, I'm going to destroy it using the Bifrost itself, and it makes me think more. Maybe he hates, like, I think there is,
he hates them more
legit,
because he found out the secret.
Well, yeah, he hates that part of him. Like, he wants to erase all existence of that aspect, because he grew up hearing the horror stories, believes that's, to be he knows they do monstrous things over there from the Asgardian perspective. Again, I hope we get to see a couple of moments inside Loki's past, not necessarily with the actors and actresses, but him telling a legit story, a real story, being truthful. Because I think deep down inside there is something, not necessarily good, but there's more to him. He's very layered. He's Dr. Doom layered.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's that level of a layered character in the comics and in these movies, I believe.
Yeah, he definitely evolves quite a bit. Like, I mean, all the characters change, but he'll be one of the longest running characters.
Did you
so
really spell comics with an X, you freaking millennial?
That's not even. That's just a prop for this setup. I had a blank box and I just wrote comics on it. There's comics in it. It was positioned right there, so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna.
Do you know what mine say on the outside? It's like Marvel 2007 to 2009. Like,
that way. I have
okay.
Marvel Part 1, Marvel 2016 Secret Empire on.
There you go.
Marvel of DC Rebirth through whatever. So this one's
right.
just a prop. But anything else on Thor?
No, man. It is such a good movie. It is, to me, that is the very definition of a, I would say that's a solid B+ film. I liked it.
Agreed.
I enjoyed watching it, and I think it's better now, having seen all of the others, which makes me wonder how Dark World will be.
Same.
Especially looking at it again from Loki's point of view.
And the fact that we've revisited that movie since I've seen it last in Endgame. Like,
yeah,
that was one of the first movies
part
the
of it.
writers worked on.
Yeah,
And so they were like, let's shove it in there. Like, I mean, where else are you going to get the ether? But it almost felt like them being like, remember how we co-wrote your least favorite movie? Now we're showing your least favorite. We're throwing your least favorite Marvel movie into what will become your favorite Marvel movie. Just because we can, because we have that power.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm down with it.
Sweet. So I guess with that, Excelsior.
Enough said.
Wait, we should say where we're from.
Yeah. You should do the
Where you
whole
at?
actual closeouts.
Where you at, Kyle?
You guys can find me at that Kyle Malone on Twitter, at that one Kyle Malone on Instagram. We should have our social media on the video on the bottom. And if you're listening to audio, go listen to the, or go watch the video, because now we'll have two video shows on the YouTube channel, plus the like 24 interviews a week we get with celebrities, actors, actresses, writers, directors, producers, comic book creators. Whoo, man. Share, subscribe. The LRM Online Podcast Network, which is soon to become the Genreverse Podcast Network, brought to you by LRM Online.
Yep, and I'm at Geeky Nick Doll on Twitter. And I also do Break Geek Radio, the podcast, and write for the site. So with that, Excelsior.
And now we can say enough said, Nick.